Hi everyone, good evening. I hope you can hear me. Please just indicate if you can hear me. Please, you pardon my noise at the beginning. But these guys around that are actually making noise, so hopefully they will soon be gone. So I'll also give some few minutes. It's still 6:59 my time. Hopefully, in about 2 minutes we will be starting, or 3 minutes or 5 minutes. Yeah, let's just say based on the turnout. All right, guys. Sugar, could you inform them on Slack so we can begin? I think we should even begin. Also, please do what to indicate, is my screen visible? Should I increase the size? Oh, okay. All right. I just did right now. Okay. So I think we should just go ahead. Whoever can catch up with us will come and catch up. Okay. So we ended somewhere last time, and we had this weird error. Let me see if I can replicate that. Uh, host learning. So we had, I think, was it here? Sheesh. Okay, so we had this login form, and we had the issue where when we click on this, we actually get invalid username and password, right? And we're trying to debug the error. And okay, so it turns out it was actually our database. There was nothing wrong with our code. Let me show you the code. So it's still the same login, like the same thing we did before, right? There was literally nothing wrong with it. The problem we had was that we were referencing the wrong database, right? Right now, this is actually the database. And when I went to XAMPP, right? Let me open XAMPP. And I go to XAMPP, there was this database that I was trying to reference. So if you notice, I had um, this one, PHP blog post with a hyphen and PHP blog post with an underscore. We were referencing the one with an underscore, which had no data. So literally what we were supposed to do, we're supposed to reference this, but there was no data. So what we needed to do is we needed to create that database here. So what I'm going to do right now, I am just going to create that database. I mean the table, the users table, because we want to transfer database to the right database that we've been using before. So in this users table, I have ID, name, email, and password. So I'll come here and create that same stuff. Um, so I could create table users. Um, then I'll pass in the ID, int not null, primary key, auto increments. Right, as a primary key, I'll pass in the name, which is a varchar, and I'll pass that to 60. I don't know what I passed before. Let me just set it to 120. And what was the other thing? I think email, varchar 122. Okay, so this is 130, 120. And password, I think that was all. And this is also going to be a varchar, and I'll set it to 120 as well. All right, so we have this, and basically I just want to make sure we have this table, the users table. So we have the users table created, and we want to um, insert this data inside, right? This same data that we had in this other database. I'm just trying to transfer things, so we use the actual database name that we've been using before. So let me go back here. I could literally just go here and insert. Instead, name is Leon, um, email is len@gmail.com, and password was password. I think that was the data, and we have that data in here right now. Okay, so we have this right now, and yeah, we are supposed to be good to go. That was the error we were having before. We were referencing the wrong database. Like I say again, my database that was there before was this, but when I went to PHP my admin, I instead inserted data but inside this one. That is why we had that problem. So I think let's just try this to make sure we are on track. um, this is called len@gmail.com, then password. So when we click on this, okay, we are good to go. So we are back to the dashboard that was to display hi username, right? This is where we ended last time, because let's go back to the user action and you see the logic. So the logic was such a way that for the login, if it said post login, we get the username and password. Then we try to log in. If login was successful, we redirect to this dashboard. And the dashboard was just supposed to display this, right? That was literally everything that was there. Now, I want us to go a step from there and implement the register. We'll design these pages later, but let's just implement all of them at once. I don't know if you guys were able to fix that. There is this guy that created a pull request with the correction because he also noticed it, the right database. That was nice. He observed very well. Okay, guys. So this is what we are going to start with right now. We are going to do the register. Can I go ahead? Okay, great. So let's go then to implement the register. So we will still implement the register method within our user class, right? Inside user.php. So what we want to implement is public function. I'll call it register, and that register is supposed to take a few minutes. That register is supposed to take something, the name, the email, and the password. I'm not going to use repeat password now, but we will do that later. Now, let me not use this at the moment. So since it's going to do this, please let me deactivate this. I want us to go together. All right, so our register function, what we want to do to register, we are just inserting data into the database. Now we'll go a little bit further to validate password, right? And let's go to the index and see the registration form, right? So we have this registration form. I'm just going to try to make it visible. Okay, so we have this. The registration form takes the email address, the password, and the name. So what I want us to do is let's duplicate this field, right, and put validate password. All right, placeholder, repeat password. Okay, so this one will be called password repeat, and the name tool here will be called password repeat. This is just some sort of validation. We want to validate the password, right? So let's refresh this form. Let's go to the form itself, and let me reduce this. On the register, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have password and password repeat. What we want to do, we want to also make sure that the password and the password repeat, they are the same. All right, so that's the first method we are going to implement. So this is called register submit. That is the name of this register form. So what I want to do is that I also want to say if is set post at register submit, right? Then let's get the data. So basically the same thing. We create a new user instance, like user is equal to new user, right? Because it's through this that we're able to access the whole user properties. Then let's get the name, which is coming from the form. So we access it to the post array. Uh, then the email, which is also the email from the form. We have the password, right? Then we also have password repeat, which is coming from the form, right? Now, what we want to do is Uh, let's just call the register. If it's, let's say, how do we call the register here? I want to call the register and pass in everything that is coming from the front end. So if user dot register, because we have to define our register function, and then we pass in all the parameters. If user register, then we pass in the name, the email, the password, and the password repeat, right? If that was successful, then we create a session and call it registration successful. That's basically it. So session at success, we set it to registration successful, and we could also set the session for the username. Let's log the username immediately. So session at username is equal to the email, just as how we did here, and then we can redirect the user now to the dashboard. Okay, dashboard.php, and if it did not go, sugar, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. Don't worry, I'll tell you that. So so this is basically it. Like, I think let's see, this is somewhere else. Let me see. So else, let me use else if here. Mm, yeah, the same thing. So let me just use the same thing here, and this is the router for the registration, right? And we have not fully implemented this registration. So what we are passing from the front end is the name, the email, the password, and the password repeat, right? So we need to go to this register function that we define here. I'm also going to pass in the password repeat, password repeat. Now, what this one would do is that I'm going to check something here, check password match, right? This is a function that I've not defined. Now, I'll be like, okay, if check password match, or I could just say password match. If password match, then I should create a user, right? So to create the user, I could literally just I'll write the SQL. SQL is equal to the SQL to insert into user is the same thing, right? Insert into users. Then I have to pass in the name, the email, and the password, right? Then the values will also be the name, the email, and let me put this in quotes, email, and the password, right? That is just the SQL. But notice we have not defined this function. So let's first of all define the function. So what we want to do is function password match, right? And I'm going to pass in the two password and password repeat. This one is just literally going to check if the password one is equal to the password two. That's just basically what it will do. So at the end of this, I'm going to say if password one is equal to um, password repeat, I return true, else I return false. Let me see. Okay, so what is here? Undefined function. So I will use this keyword because I'm inside the class, right? I use this keyword, and then, like I said, this function is just a helper function at this moment to to uh, to check whether password match. We could literally do it here, inside here. It won't be a problem. But sometimes we need to do separation of concern, right? So we don't want to put all logic inside one thing. Okay. So this is the SQL. Insert into users, name, email, password, values, equal the name, the email, and the password. Now let's execute this query. And to execute the query, we just use the simple execute uh, function, but in this case, we have our connection defined within our class. That's why I'm using this .com.query. Now, in normal SQL, you use my SQLi underscore query, right? Then you pass in the connection and the SQL. This will still work here, okay? So it's not a problem. But since we are object oriented, let's stay object oriented, okay? So first thing, we check if password match. If it does, then um, we this is the SQL to insert into the database. Then we execute the query. Now, if it was successful, we return true. If not, we return false, right? Okay. Now, there is another thing. What if we removed this function here and put it at the user action because we want to specifically catch an error, right? We want to make sure that we return a message that passwords do not match. So let's try this, remove this, right? And let's see this as well. This is just the normal SQL, right? So let me we could edit this, and then I'll not use this repeat password. Now I'm going to go back to my router. Look at what I've done. Okay, I've just removed this check. I want to do the check here. All right. So what I want to do is uh this guy is already doing it. I'm trying to deactivate it. Like, I don't want to use it. So what we want to do is we want to first of all check if the password match. If the passwords do not match, then we can return something useful to the user. So if what do we want? Uh, User. Let's see. We also want to get something, but it will work if password is equal to password repeat, right? Then we can go ahead and execute this logic, right? So this will be cool, but this check as well, we already have a method that defines that, so we could literally just call the method here. How do we call it? If user dot password match, uh, user dot password match, right? And I pass in the password and the password repeat, right? So we do this check. If it was successful, then we also do this other check, and so on. What if it is did not match? Then we can have something to do, right? Else we can set a session and say, okay, session at password validation equal to passwords do not match, right? And That's basically it, right? This is going to do the job for us. Now, you see that even within your router, you have some logic there. Okay. I hope this is going to work. Let me come back here and we verify before we do a check. Great. Now, let's try to test this. Andrew Leon, uh, pass this. I hope this is the same password. Okay, there's a field here that on the front end I've not worked it well. So we have the email address, we have the name, the email address, the password repeat. There are four fields, right? Field one name, field two email address, field two password, field four. Okay, there's confirmed password already. Oh, really? I did not notice that. Okay, so refresh this, come to register, and we have this, right? Mm, so I want us to pass in the name and pass in a password. Let's try to register and see. Uh, Basically, we don't get any result, but let me check the database on the, I hope I'm still on the right one. Okay, so I have that this is it, like we have the user registered. I'm going to delete it again because I want us to do a total check to make sure that we get the right result. So in the user action, if the registration was successful, we should return to the dashboard. Yes, and this dashboard does not have anything yet. So um, I'll also say if we set uh, session at success, I think that was the name of the key, then we should also echo out the username, right? These are just checks. I mean, we are just doing some checks here. We have not started coding the dashboard, but I just want to make sure that we are on track. Okay, so session at success. Now let's make sure that we have that session at success within here. So is there anything called success? For the register, we have username. Mm, okay, so we have username instead. Come to register. Okay, there is no success. So we come here, we instead have the username, right? And our username, we don't have username. So I could literally say the username is equal to email because this one exists, right? And let's go back, refresh this. Let me see, we're not supposed to refresh this. Come to register, pass in the password and register. So you see it is registered because we are actually seeing this displayed, right? Now let's check our database, right? Let's see our database length. This you have this from Andrew and so on, right? I'm sure you can see. The first one was Len, the other one is Leon. Let's make sure that Leon is not that Len is not being displayed. So we have Leon, which is the recent one that we inputted. Okay, so this is how registration will be done normally. So we have checked this. Now let's try something. There is this validation result that I want to also check. So let me go back to index.php and come towards the password, right? And check here. PHP. Okay, so if set We want to get the session at validation result, right? If that exists, then we just show the result. So I'm just going to close this one right now and div the alert, and then I'm going to have a span here. Uh, Let me call this alert success or alert danger. This is just a bootstrap class, all right? So span the okay, yeah, just a normal span will go, and then I have some PHP in here, echo session at validation, and we're good. All right. Then let's make sure. Notice I close this PHP here unexpectedly, so I have to also close it here. So PHP and close this. Okay, that's basically how you do this. So I'm going to copy this and put in the two password field, right? Password and password. So that if we come back here, um, let me see, I have to make sure that we did redirect to the right one. So this one will be called index.php. If there was an error, where should we send the user to? Especially when the passwords do not match. Okay, let's send the user header to it's called index.php, right? Location, and I have .index.php, and I'm going to have this hash in front. Register. This is the ID, right? For this for login, I have hash login form. For register, I have hash uh, register form, and that is what I'm going to pass because I want to redirect to the right one. So hash register form. Okay. So hoping that this works. Let us try to do it again. Let me see. I'm going to add sugar's name, sugar, and I'm going to pass in another password here, and let's see if this goes, then we have the wrong logic. So pass this and register form. This is not correct. But instead going to the index / register form. But this is the register form, right? Okay. We have the validations displayed. I want to see how we are going to go to the register form. This is really handling this is going to take some JavaScript. But notice this is the validation, right? So on the login, the validation is not on the login, it's rather on the register. So passwords do not match. Um, I need to make sure that when I refresh, it should clear. So what I need to do here is that I should also unset um, this, right? So that when I refresh, that validation clears off. I'm going to copy this and make sure it is also here. So that if I refresh this, it goes, passwords do not match. It's not there again, all right? So let us try it again on Andrew, another password here, password. Now, I don't know how we'll do this now, but we'll check that later. So if I click on register, I am redirected back to the login page or to the index page. But the problem is there's some JavaScript that sets this to default, okay? So if I come to the register itself, you actually see the validation messages, right? The validation message is here. And if I refresh, it's no longer there, okay? Or we could as well separate these forms quite be good to separate these forms at the moment. I think so. So give me a few minutes. Let me separate these forms. Like I'll create two different login.php and in the login.php, I'm just going to copy the code from this login form itself. Mm, Copy the whole of this, come to login, paste it there. I don't need these scripts now. Also, there's another thing that I don't need. Since this is login, I don't need the registration form, right? So login, all of this is useless right now. Like, so let me try to remove what is not supposed to be there. Okay, so I have the login form, and I don't even know which one to remove first. Let me just get rid of this at the moment so that I have login. Where does the login end? I think it's here or here. Yeah. Okay. So that I can also copy the whole of registration form and paste it somewhere else. I just want to change these pages because right now I want us to check something. Okay, so there's login here, register is there, and login is there. So let me go to login.php and I have the login form. Great. So since the login form is there, let me see. Margin top 4, 5, whatever. And I'm going to have H1, call it H1. I'm going to call it login class X center. I'm working on beauty, like I said. Okay, so we have this login form. Let's also customize the register form. I'm sorry I have to do this right now. Um, it's just that it will really be necessary. Okay, so register PHP, and I'll paste this. This is the register form. I'm just going to copy this, all of this at the top, register. Okay, so I have this right now. I'm going to try to format this, but even if it's not formatted, you can always take care of it, right? I just want to have the two in different files. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Okay, okay. Uh, okay, so I have this register now, so that in this index, what I can do right now on the index, I might even get rid of all of this at the moment. I don't even need it. Um, Okay, so we have this right now. So what we are going to have here will be basic login.php instead, and this one will be called register.php. And I'm going to remove all the on-click stuffs and so on. And okay, so this should work right now. So if I go to index, I have login and register. I go to login, I have this. I go to register, I have this, right? Oh, what was that? Register, I have login and not no data there. Let me come back to register. So register, and user action register.php. Let me see. Let me deactivate this guy right now. It's necessary. Display. Is there any display ID register form? I don't even need the ID too because I'm not using it. Okay. Back to register ID. No ID here. Want to even the active. I don't need it. Even the ID right now. I don't need it as well. Just to make sure that the display block doesn't cause any harm. So I have register, I have login. All right. So I'm going to see what is wrong with the register and login, whatever. Mm, register.php, panel login, something. See this. There's a certain display block somewhere that I have to remove. Um, oh, there's so many divs that I'm closing right now. Okay. Mm, what's the problem here right now? Like, mm, input type submit. This is the form. Where is the body? I have the body class container. Blah, blah, blah. See, it's. Just give me a few minutes. Let me restructure this login and register form. Okay, so the login, I should remove all of those panels because I just turned out to be the problem right now. There are so many. For the front end guys, you shouldn't have problems with this. Like, okay. Mm, I need this too. I don't also need login.js. Okay, let's see this and what's happening. HTML. Okay, so I have one div, two div, and close this div. What's up with this form right now? Form group, ID login form. Don't need it too. Oh, display block. This was the issue. Okay, not still. Role form. Shown this. Okay, register. F block. Display none as well. It's not supposed to be there. All right, so I think this should work out right now. So we have the registration form right now. Everything is okay. Um, something like this, and I have this, right? So, okay, I think this works now. Let me just restructure the route. So this one will go to register.php, and this one will go to login.php, right? It's login, right? Or username, password. No, it will still be register.php. Okay, so let me go back here, fill in some data, and we have this right now. Okay, so we have all of this. And what we want to do is that in the register, we want to check if the session validation and so on. So I'm going to start the session here. Session starts, right? Just to make sure that we have the error we are supposed to. Okay. Okay, so this is register session starts. Got. And okay, we have this validation error right now. So the stuff is right up and running. I'm sorry, I cannot design it right now. We can take care of that later. And if stuffs are correct, like the right email and the right passwords are passed in, passwords, passwords, and I'm going to set another email here called email@gmail.com. We have that it goes, okay? So registration is successful and login as well is successful, okay? So we have registration and login up and running. So I could put login PHP so that we have that. Now, since we have these two right now, we have some more minutes. Let's see how we can work on another page. Which page should we work on? Should we take the dashboard now? If we want to take the dashboard, then anyway, let's just take the dashboard at the moment. What we will want in the dashboard is that we need to display some posts and so on. But for now, I'm not going to do that yet. Let's just design the dashboard. So within my dashboard, I'm just going to copy some random code and paste, okay? All of this HTML. In our dashboard, we have what I'm going to paste right now is just HTML and CSS. So I have some designs like just some CSS. Yeah, it's just a CSS, right? And inside the body, I also want to paste in something which we are going to fix. Okay, so I'm also going to paste this and I'll remove every PHP code that is there. Uh, let's see, all of this. I'm going to remove this and put H1 0 and total users here to be 0, right? And I think that should work. Let me check the dashboard again, okay? Mm, okay, so we have the dashboard like this. Now there is literally no styling. There's literally no PHP here yet. Like if you notice, there is just one thing, hi email@gmail.com, and what is that? Let me show you where it is. It is just a normal PHP script here that checks if there is a session like this, and let me even make sure session at username. If there's a section at username, then I should say hi username. That is what is being displayed here, okay? So this is our dashboard. There is no PHP on it, like no PHP. And what we want to do is we want to work on the PHP. So first thing, I'm sorry, I'm really bad at front end. So somebody must have already noticed. Let me make this H1. Somebody must have already noticed that one box is bigger than the other. But okay, it's okay now. So we have this dashboard right now. H1, let me make this text center, class text center, so that we have a centralized something. Does that even help? Doesn't. Mm, text align center. Does this end? Text align center as well. And does it help? No, it doesn't. I'm not going to work on it. Okay, guys, we have this right now. We have the dashboard, right? And there is this thing that I want to remove. All of this is not useful anymore. Um, let's see, user registered. So I could as well need this. Copy this and paste it somewhere. Paste this here. Okay, that literally does nothing. I just wanted to remove whatever was here. So we have these two things now. One is a button to add block. Another is to go to the website, right? To go to the website, we just need to link back to index.php. Yeah, the main index.php. So to go back, we need to go one directory backward and we have block or index.php, right? So if I say go to website, we are back on the landing page. Now, what we want to work on now will soon be the block, so that when I go to block, we have a listing of all the blocks. We have not worked on this, and that is our main objective. But for now, what we wanted to do was to make sure that we have a user who can log in and add block, right? Okay, so so far, so far, I don't know if somebody has something to say so far. We have 10 more minutes, and I am thinking, what next should we design? Let's talk about the logout, right? Yes, the logout should be the next. The user should be able to log out, right? So I should be able to click on a certain logout somewhere. There's no logout button. I don't see it. But you are supposed to have a certain logout button somewhere where you actually click and log out. So let me just add it here. What should logout do? Mm, and the logout too is supposed to be a form, right? Form, and action is user action dot php, and I will have just, there's nothing here. The only thing that we have will be called a button, and that button will have a class of will be called logout. Let me see. Okay, whatever. Like, you guys can actually style this at the end. So I have this logout button. Let me style it a bit. Class. Um, what should I do? Let me give it style. Style called. Uh, what should I put? I don't even know the style to put here right now. Front end guys, help me. All right. Border style. Should it be border style? And I don't want any border style. That's what I wanted to do. Let me see if this again works. Okay, yeah, good. So that is it. And X, let me to color and put it to blue because I want it to be visible. All right, so I have this logout now, and the form action is going to be this, and methods is going to be post. and this button will be of type submit. Type submit. I'll give the name as logout submit, right? So that when somebody clicks on this logout, it's going to come to this user action, what we are going to define. Else if it sets logout submit, then I should just call uh, this new user that we keep creating here is, I feel like it's not a cool idea. Let's just create a new user at the top, and we can use the user everywhere else. All right. Yeah, this will literally work. Okay, so I will say user logout, right? And that is a method implemented already. Oh, what is this? If you set this, um, oh, post. Okay, so this method has been already implemented and it does nothing than destroy the session. So if there is a session, destroy the session. Let's also destroy what again? It's just a username, right? Yeah. And the location, uh, yeah, let's forget about this. So if there's logout, we should redirect to the login page, login.php. Yeah, let's try this out. Refresh, log out, and we're back to login. Let me try to access the dashboard. All right, so you see that stuff is no longer there. What we'll do will be we will try to restrict access to this page, but for now, at least we know that we are logged out. So in this case, you see, when I click on log out again, it doesn't send me to the login page. It sends me to the home page. And I can log in and we have this back, right? So I don't know, guys, what do you have to say? Is there something I'm missing out? Is there something I need to do again? Yes, there is something I need to do, which we might do the next class, right? You can hash the password. That's a nice approach. You can hash the password. And should we hash the password now? Let me see. Uh, Password hash. PHP password hash. Uh, how do we hash password? So we have password hash. We're passing the password, and let me see an example. Okay, so let me try this. In the register, what we'll do is come back to user.php, and I'm going to define one helper function again. Um, what will be the name of the function? Public function hash password. And yeah, I literally, okay, before you get confused, to hash password, this is what we saw, right? We use a password hash, you pass in the password, then so what I need to do is I use what we had here, hashed password is equal to, now I hash the password and save it, then I return the password. This hash password takes in your password and provides the algorithm for you to hash the password, right? um so this should go, hmm? So that when we come to the register, All right. We are not going to use by this password. We are going to use password hash. So I'll be like password hashed password is equal to uh, I'm going to call the function hash. What's the name of the function we defined? Hash password. So I'll say uh, this hash password, and I'll pass in the password, right? Uh, yeah. Now we have this, and here we are going to pass in the hashed password instead, right? So that in our registration, we are going to register with the hash password. Now we will talk about this. We might just get hooked somewhere with the login. So let me log out and try to register. Uh, register.php passing who is here Adi Days and Adi at gmail.com. Password will be Adi1234 D12 Adi1234, and we register, and we have that it's registered. Now let's check our database, and this is what I meant. You see how password hashing is done, right? This is now the password. We just know that our password is a D1234, and when we want to log in, we need to do password verify. So in the login, let me see, select star from users where email is equal to this, right? In the login now, we instead have this, and we can now verify if there was a user, right? SQL this, yeah. So we execute the query. If there is a user, um, let's see. Mm, if user this could check password matches, right? And this, so let's see. You can literally, what this one does right now is, okay, assuming that there were so many users with that username, right? We check now, we can look through it and get the users, and let me see, this one will preferably be let me just check this right now. So we'll check this, and I'll try to verify at the end. So this one is literally going to get the row. Hopefully there should be just one, and we'll verify the user password. You see, this password verify is going to verify your hashed password with the password that you defined. Okay, so this now, if we have this, what we should see is, okay, if the password is verified, then we should return true, else we should return false. And then this was to check if there was a user, if not, return false. So at the end, we are supposed to have something. Let me check this out. Please excuse me, guys. Okay, I think we should just check this right now and exit. So this, we know that our user return is going to be an array. So we could access the array at the index of the password. This is coming from the database, right? Okay, so to some extent, something might not work, especially for these passwords. 123, it will not work. So let me check learn@gmail.com and then I pass in the password. Logout learn@gmail.com and password is password. And if I log in, username or password to no match, right? Now let's check our hash password adi@gmail.com and password was adi1234. I hope that was it. We are able to log in. Do you see now? So all of these users right now, they are now obsolete. These ones, we don't need them anymore. Yeah, this is the only valid user because you cannot log in with the other users. Okay, let me go through that once more and then maybe we can call it a day for now. So with the login, right, since we decided to hash the password before submitting for registration, when we want to log in, we also need to verify the hashed password with your password. Now, you cannot cram your hash password because you will not first of all see it, but you know your password, right? So when you pass in your password, what happens is we use the password verify. Now look what it does. It checks if a given hash matches a given option. So it will take your password and try to verify the hash with the password that you that is hashed in the database. And if it does, then we are logged in. If not, then it's going to return a false. So the login, the first thing we'll do is we'll first of all get by the email, right? Or the username in whatever case you're using. We'll first of all get by the email because we cannot use an here. We cannot use an because if we say and password equal password, that's going to be difficult to trace. Okay. So we get the user, right? Once we have that user now, we can now check if that user with the password is equal to the password that you passed in from the front end. And if it matches, then you are logged in. If not, then you have wrong password. Okay. So we have this login now and this register and password match and password hash. All right. These are just some functions that we've defined. And I think this is cool. We are good. So let us see what we have now. We have this landing page, right? This landing page, and we have the path for back end, and we can log in and we can as well register, right? And you see, this is a problem right now. Like if you register with null, it's not supposed to. Okay, let me give one last validation before we end. So these are our forms right now. They should have required. So required and required. That's just front end validation. Let's see this input. This is the login. Yeah, and then the register too is also passing no value, but we have required. And this other one too, we also have required, right? So that when we click on submit, we have some basic validation in the front end before even the validation at the back end. I think this is good right now. Uh, Refresh this. If I click on this, at least we have these validations right now. Passing this, I click on it, all of them are required. Those are some front end validations. Just the required keyword could do validations for you. Okay, guys, I think we are going to end here for today. The next class, we are going to implement the remaining methods in the user class, and then we'll do the post, right? You can add post, delete post, and so on. Thank you guys very much. I think we can end here, right? Okay. Good night, everyone. You guys should have a nice time.